Hello everybody, welcome to the Analyst by Vajiram and Ravi dated 1st June 2026, where we would try to comprehensively analyze 7 articles in 3 different sections, along with your daily mains answer writing program. In the analysis part, we will first have a comprehensive discussion with respect to the free trade agreement signed between India and Oman, which will come into force from today. In the second article, we will have a discussion with respect to overcrowding of prisons in India and its consequences on prisoners. Then, in the new mains value addition section, we will have a look at some of the data relating to women which can be used in your mains answer writing. Then in the prelims pointer section, we will have a discussion with respect to 4 different articles from the special perspective of your UPSC prelims exam. Coming to the very first topic of today's discussion, it is regarding India-Oman relations. Now, India's relation with the Gulf countries were always viewed with the lens of just oil and remittance. But now the equation is changing. The relation is becoming much more deeper with trade, investment, supply chain, strategic initiatives, and geopolitics. In this aspect, today we'll see the first article which talks about India-Oman CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, which will come into force right from today. Okay, so this CEPA, it will come into force from today, that is June 2026. So this article has been written by Minister Piyush Goyal, who is our Commerce Minister. And why it is relevant for you guys? It is part of GS Paper 2 International Relations and also GS Paper 3 Economy. As the Economics Minister, the Commerce Minister himself is writing about this CEPA. So first we will see some of the historical relations between India and Oman and how the trade have been always there between these two countries. Now this was Indus Valley civilization back in the times 3000 years from now. And we at that time also had trade relations with Oman. Clear? So strong maritime trade link between Magan, which was the ancient Sumerian name of Oman, and Meluha, which was the ancient name of Indus Valley civilization. So there was always trade relations between Magan. This is Magan and this is Meluha. Clear? Then in the 18th century, Tipu Sultan also sent diplomatic mission to Oman. He had the relations with the Omanian kings. In 1953, for the first time, India-Oman Treaty of Friendship for navigation, commerce and other aspects was signed between an independent Indian state. And right now in 2026, India-Oman Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement has been signed after already we had some preferential trade agreements. Now, why Oman is important for India? We have to see this. Now, everybody is aware of what is happening in the Strait of Hormuz from last 3 months. Clear? Because of the US, Iran, Israel war, everything has been choked. And Oman sits right next to the Strait of Hormuz at the very strategic location. So, yes, Oman is a very strategic location right next to the Strait of Hormuz. In fact, just south of the Strait of Hormuz, where the US has been blocking ships. Now it is crucial for India's energy trade, maritime security. Oman's port strengthens India's presence in Arabian Sea because Gulf of Oman is an extension of Arabian Sea through Deccan port. Now India is also investing in Deccan port in Oman. Clear? So we, as you must be aware, that we are following the diamond of necklace of diamonds policy in counter to the string of pearl of China. So in that, Deccan port is an important component for India. Now, Oman is an important energy partner for India who supplies crude oil, LNG and fertilizer inputs for Indian industries. Now, it is also a gateway to West Asia and Africa. Connectivity and logistic advantage will be there if India connects with the Deccan port or Oman. Oman sits at the mouth of, let's say, you can say entire West Asia. So, if you want to have a good trade with West Asia, Oman can be one destination which connects the Arabian Peninsula with the India. Then we have defense ties with Oman. We have military deals in the form of Al-Najah. These can be asked in your prelims or you can also write in your mains answers. Then Air Force, we have Eastern Bridge as the Air Force exercise between the two countries. And naval also, Nasim Al-Bahr. So this is one of the very few countries, Oman, with which India has defense exercise for all the 3 forces, Army, Navy and Air Force. Okay? So this shows already we are having good trade or you can say good ties with Oman. Then Indian diaspora. Large Indian communities present in Oman, roughly around 7 lakh people of Indian origin are living right now in Oman. These 7 lakh people, they are a source of good remittance, roughly around $2 billion every year. So 2 billion is a huge amount. It's roughly around 19,000 crores every year they send to India, the people working in Oman. So the bilateral trade was 10.5 billion in 2024-25, with more than 6,000 Indian enterprises operating there. That means more than 6,000 Indian companies are working in Oman. So this shows how much we are integrated there. So much presence of Indian trade is already there in Oman. And this CEPA will further help these enterprises to scale their businesses. Now 70% imports are petroleum products and urea, which right now India is looking to diversify. In fact, the Oman also. One of the reasons why Oman went ahead with the CEPA is that they want to diversify their economy. They do not just want to rely on oil, because they know in future the dependence of other countries on oil will reduce. The world is moving towards electric mobility. So if they do not diversify their economy now, they will become obsolete in future. And they are the third largest export destination among the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. Among the Gulf countries, they are the third largest export destination for India. I think they will be behind UAE and Saudi Arabia. Clear? So this is why Oman is important for India. Now we'll see some of the key features of this India-Oman CEPA. Now market access, complete duty-free access for Indian exports of over 98% tariff line. Now see what happens if you understand the difference between preferential trade agreement, free trade. See, on the first level we have preferential trade agreement. Then one level above we have free trade agreement. Above free trade agreement we have comprehensive economic partnership agreement. So which goes one step ahead of free trade agreement. Here, most of the goods, 98% of the goods which we'll be exporting will be completely free of any tariff. So they will be having zero tariff, zero custom duty in Oman. So it will help a lot of Indian exporters exporting goods there. Now, Oman can act as a gateway to West Asia, along with Africa also, helping Indian firms expand beyond the relatively small Omani market. What they are saying is, basically they say that Oman market is very small. It is not as big. The market of Dubai or let's say UAE is much larger as compared to the Oman. So Oman can act as a gateway from which we can send goods to other countries. Clear? And just like see, if we are sending somewhere here at Dubai port, from here we can send it through road transport also, railway transport also. Instead of crossing the Strait of Hormuz, we can transport to UAE, Dubai from here also. So it opens up a lot of options for Indian trade. Strategic ports such as Duqm and Salalah gain importance and can support India's trade connectivity. This is Duqm port. Here you have Salalah port. Salalah port just close to the border of Yemen. Clear? So these two are the strategic ports in the north of Indian Ocean, where India can gain access to these ports. Now, service liberalization is an important component of this CEPA. Services included, basically there are opportunities in IT, healthcare, education and other professional services, where the mobility of Indian people from India to Oman can be facilitated. More people can go there and work there, and later on they can either come back or send remittance, whatever. Then investment cooperation. Greater investment flows will be there between the two countries. Now, Oman also has a venture capital fund which invests in Indian businesses. It will further help in development of businesses within India. You have improved business environment between the two countries. Then professional mobility, as we have talked, easier movement of skilled professionals between the two countries. India has abundance of people. We have skilled people. We have service professionals who can go. We can export these people to different countries. They can work there. They can bring in a lot of technology, cultural change, and your remittance. So we have to leverage that. For that, I think with any country, if India does a free trade agreement or CEPA, one of the main component is professional mobility, that is services. That you should allow Indians to come in your country and work there. Clear? Now, what will be the benefits for India? See, there will be export growth. Key beneficiary sectors will include your textile, pharmaceuticals, gems and jewelries, engineering goods and agriculture. Although most of our gold is imported from other countries, but Surat is a diamond hub. What we does, the gold and diamond jewelries which we import in the raw form, we polish it, cut it and make it into jewelries and then export it. So we do value addition work in gems and jewelry industries, so that will gain. And engineering goods and agriculture will further aggravate. The conditions in Oman are not as good to grow agriculture, so we have a scope of exporting there also. Then it will strengthen India's Act West policy. Just like we have Act East policy, there is Act West policy also, which will focus more on improving the relations with the countries in the immediate west of India, except the Pakistan. It deepens engagement with the Gulf countries. Then supply chain diversification by reducing dependence on limited markets. See, the more diversified a supply chain is, the more resilient a country becomes. If we are just dependent on any one country, let's say on China, so we'll be highly vulnerable. So whatever we can import from Oman, we will import from Oman. Oman has a lot of natural reserves, natural resources in different forms, so we can get from there. There will be a boost to MSME. New export opportunities will be there, because see, if let's say an MSME sends something, exports to USA, the transportation cost is much higher as compared to exporting something to Oman, because Oman is very close to Indian borders. So it will give boost to MSME. There will be a strategic presence of India in the Gulf. It will strengthen India's economic footprint, enhance India's influence in West Asia at the times of geopolitical competition, where different countries are engaging with different countries, trying to create blocks, fighting amongst each other. At this time, it is good that India is signing economic agreements with other countries. We have recently signed with Australia, UK, UAE, Oman, a lot of countries we are signing. Talks are also going on for signing agreement with USA and Canada also. Clear? There will be benefits for Oman also. Both countries will mutually gain. What will be the benefits? Economic diversification, reduced dependence on oil. As we have already discussed, they want to reduce their dependence on oil and diversify. Then access to Indian market, preferential trade access. See, Indian market is huge. There are 1.4 billion people. Out of that, at least 30 crores, that means 300 million have high paying capacity. So every company in the world wants to have access to these 300 million people in India, which have good paying capacity. So is for Oman. Now, investment opportunities will increase for Omanian countries in manufacturing, logistics, and services sector. Clear? So both countries will gain. Oman will diversify its resources. They can sell their things better. For India, this is a new export market and a gateway to West Asia and Africa. Now, what are some of the challenges between the India and Oman relations? See, China angle is always there. Any country you pick up, there will always be a China angle. So you can use this point in any answer writing in international relations, except America. Now, investing heavily in Oman's the port and establishing a special economic zone. China is building a special economic zone in Oman, in the port. So China, see, what China does is they do a lot of funding to these countries. We cannot match the economic might of China. They are very large as compared to India. They have a lot of money. They can give easy money to countries for their development and take a leverage over India in this sense by giving money. Then you have diplomatic turbulence, the ongoing conflict in Yemen and the attacks by Houthi rebels in the Yemen, in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. Now, the Yemen is the immediate border country of Oman. Yemen is undergoing civil war and Houthi rebellions are there, backed by Iran and your Saudi Arabia. Now, fighting is going on in Yemen. So till the time your neighborhood is peaceful, you cannot easily economically prosper. So that's why we also say for India to economically prosper, we have to have good conditions in Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and all these countries. However, what we have seen in recent times, all these countries are going through some kind of turbulence. Then trade is skewed towards oil import, but let's hope we will reduce the import dependence of oil on these Gulf countries. Now, UAE factor. UAE is a formidable competitor to Oman. What UAE does, UAE consistently overshadows Oman, drawing away potential Indian investments and trade focus. See, if let's say you are a businessman, you want to set up any factory or you can say any business into Middle East, Dubai or UAE will be the first destination which will come into your mind. So it overshadows Oman. Clear? So Oman always faces this issue because of Dubai. Then Omanization. Omanization is the policy of Oman where they are aggressively, their domestic labor policy, in their domestic labor policy, they are focusing on replacing expatriates with local Omani citizens. Again, son of the soils theory. For example, what happens in Maharashtra in India? They say that people from Bihar and UP come and take our job. Same Omanian people are saying that Indians come here and take our job. Everywhere this problem is there. So this policy is specifically called Omanization. Now, Middle East to India deep water pipeline. There is a pipeline proposed, undersea SAGE pipeline, which was proposed. It is facing extreme technical and financial hurdles because of the difficult topography of Indian Ocean. You have tectonic fractures in the Indian Ocean at that particular place. So laying a pipeline through the Indian Ocean is not easy at that particular place. So that is still facing issue. If a pipeline is developed, it connects India to Oman, it will help a lot for India. A lot of logistic costs will be reduced of bringing in crude oil. Clear? So these are some of the challenges. However, a lot of steps have been taken by both India and Oman recently. India-Oman vision document A document for future partnership between the two countries has been created, which lays down the guidelines how we can improve the relations in future. Third tranche of Oman India Investment Fund, where it is a joint venture, a wealth fund aimed at channeling capital into high growth sectors of Indian economy. So this is how the surplus money which is with the Omanian government by selling of oil, they make it as a venture wealth fund, and then they fund a lot of high growth industries in India, so that they can also gain, Indian companies will also gain because of that patient capital. Then establishment of Hindi chair of Indian Council of Cultural Research in one of the Omanian universities. Now this establishing Hindi chair, it serves as a soft power milestone and promotes cultural exchange between the universities of both the countries and between the countries overall. So this is a kind of soft power for India. Then CEPA negotiations which have been concluded and which will come into force right from today. Then your new areas of cooperation which India and Oman are looking are your cyber security, outer space, and renewable energy. Now a lot of these Gulf countries, they are investing a lot in the renewable energy because they knew that their future crude oil is in danger. So right now what you are seeing, the elevated price of crude oil, which is around $90, $100, $110, they will not remain so high for long. Why? Because these countries knew if you'll keep the price so high, people will switch to alternatives. And once they switch to alternatives like solar, there is no turning back. So they have to sell their oil. They will sell it at an optimum price around $60, $70 for a long time. So it's just a matter of time when these crude oil prices will come down. Then way forward, what can be done? How the relations can be improved between the two countries? Now you have to strengthen the export competitiveness of the Indian countries. Improve logistics, reduce transaction cost, better highways, better infrastructure, better port facilities have to be created so that exports are improved and promoted from India. You have to enhance MSME participation in the exports, export facilitation support. Then you have to build value chains which will integrate with the Gulf market and expand strategic economic cooperation in the field of energy, technology, and green hydrogen. Specifically, India is focusing a lot on green hydrogen because it can be abundantly created, and there are no, you can say, large solar parks are required for green hydrogen. It can be done in smaller areas also. Clear? So these are some of the way forwards where India and Oman can further have improved relations. Now, this is the mains practice question for you guys. Make sure you attempt this question. This is discuss the strategic and economic significance of India-Oman CEPA for the India's engagement with West Asia. Make sure you write this answer. Coming to the second topic of today's analysis. Imagine a prison made for 500 inmates but housing 1,000 people. Now barracks become overcrowded, sanitation deteriorates, healthcare crumbles, and the rehabilitation becomes almost impossible. Now this is not just an isolated issue. This is the case of almost each and every prison in India. In this regard, we will have a look at how Indian prisons, they continue to operate far beyond their sanctioned capacity. That means how they are overcrowded, and that too by under trials. Under trials are generally those person whose trial is right now going on. They are innocent until they are proven guilty. So that means despite spending many years in jail, they might be acquitted. They might get acquitted by the court in future, and they are proved innocent. So that still they can end up spending a lot of time in jails. So why this topic is important? This is part of GS paper 2, your polity, governance, and judiciary. Clear? Now, overcrowding of prisons, what does it mean? See, prisons overcrowding occur when the number of inmates, the people who are residing, the criminals, or you can say in the trials, or other different kind of people living within jails, their number is more than the authorized prison capacity. As I told you in the example, the capacity is of 500 inmates, but 1,000 are living. So overcrowding happens here, becomes 200% here. So an indicator is occupancy rate. Above 100, it is overcrowded prisons. In our example, it will be 200% occupancy of the prison. Clear? The current status, according to the recent prison statistics, occupancy level in many states exceed 130 to 180%, with some prisons having nearly double, operating at double of their capacity. Clear? A major reason for this large number of under trial prisoners, who constitute nearly 75% of India's prison population. So that means only 25% of inmates living in the prisons, they are found guilty, they are serving their sentence. But 75% are all going under the trial. That means there is something seriously broken into the criminal justice system of India. where these 75% should not spend this much of time into jails. So something is broken. Now you see, this article is regarding Delhi jails, where a lot of prisons are overcrowded and understaffed. The highest density of occupancy is in Delhi with 194%, and right now the latest data you will take somehow from 2026, it will be around 200%. That means double the capacity of inmates are living within the prisons. The situation in Meghalaya is also grim with 160% occupancy. Jammu and Kashmir 148, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra are also over 140. So this is the very serious condition. Now, what are the causes? Why this happens? What are the causes of prison overcrowding? The main reason is high number of under trials. Your slow investigation, delayed trials, frequent adjournments keep on happening in court. All these reasons lead to the trial stretching over a period of time, and when the trial stretches, the under trial remains in jail during that time. Then you have a lot of judicial pendency. We have seen in the previous census that more than 5 crore cases are pending in the courts in India. You have overburdened courts with the cases, vacant judicial posts at the lower courts, and the system is not as good. The infrastructure is not there for the disposal of cases at a fast pace. Then excessive use of pre-trial detention. What it means? Bail often becomes inaccessible for poor prisoners. The poor people, they do not have awareness about their rights, or they do not have the money to give bail. For getting your bail bond, you have to give a good amount, sometimes 10, 20, 50,000 money for that. So jail rather than bail tendency is in practice. What courts have frequently said, that bail rather than jail should be the practice. That first you should try to look at giving bail to any person. If the circumstances is very tough, or you can say challenging, then you can put them in jail. But right now what is happening on ground, jail rather than bail has become the reality today. So this is the chart showing the number of under trials in comparison to the convicts. This is showing under trials and convicts. Although the number of under trials have reduced in past couple of years, still their number is very high. Now, other causes for this are your socio-economic factors, where the people are having poverty, illiteracy, and lack of legal awareness, whom to contact to get a bail. Sometimes what is happening, a person can easily get bail. Their charges are bailable. If they apply in court, they can easily get, but they do not have the money and the resources to apply the bail even. So they spend years in jail just because of this. Then inadequate use of alternatives like probation, community service, open prisons. Now see, what is community services? In developed countries like Scandinavian, Canada, what happens if you have done some crime? Sometimes the court does not send you in prison. They give you community service to do. That means, for example, if you have done some theft activity, the court might say you that, okay, you go with these traffic policemen, stand with them in the traffic lights for next 1 month and assist them in handling the traffic well. This is a kind of community service that you'll have to do. So this kind of things can be tried. Then you have open prisons. Open prisons allow prisoners to go out during the daytime for work, and they can return back to the prison. Okay. So this is being practiced in India in some places of, let's say, Rajasthan. And if the model is successful, then it can be replicated. But it is on a very small pilot scale. In colonial prison framework in India, many prisons operate under the outdated structures and rules. Prison is a state subject. Under the 7th schedule, prison is a state subject. So every state will make their different laws relating to prison. So some prisons are still operating under the old colonial mindset and laws. Clear? So now this is the chart showing the total population of inmates in 2024. Within you can say prison, how many people have been sentenced to go into the jail and how many are just under trials. In Delhi, that number is 88%. That means out of 100, 88 people are not proven guilty. They are still in the eye of laws. They are still innocent, but they are spending time in jail. 88%. Such a huge number. Bihar is not behind. Bihar is having 87% under trials. And under trials, roughly on the national level, it is 72%. That means just 28% inmates in the jail right now, they are convicted. Rest 72% are still in the eye of law. They are innocent, but still they'll end up spending years in jail, if not months. Now, what are the consequences of this prison overcrowding on the inmates? There is human right violation. Poor sanitation is there into the prisons because of overcapacity. Anyways, government in jails, what do we can expect? The sanitation will not be of top-notch quality. Still, if it is then overcrowded, it becomes further deteriorated. Lack of privacy, inadequate health care, and violation of dignity of humans under Article 21, right to life. ठीक है? In India, we don't just talk about right to life, we talk about the right to dignified life. So dignified life is definitely not there into the prisons. However, there are some prisons in the foreign countries which work on the principle of rehabilitation. They try to improve the conduct of the inmate. They look after the dignified life, but especially not in overcrowded prisons. Then health risks are there. Spread of infectious disease can spread very quickly into the jails. Because of this reason, during COVID times, a lot of people got bail because you have to reduce the overcrowding of jails at that time. Mental health problems are there in jail because people, they are forced to live in small quarters. A lot of people are living. They end up having mental health issues. Then COVID-19 exposed possible vulnerabilities, and that's why we left a lot of people on bail at that time. Then you have a lot of violence and radicalization within the jails. You have criminal networking, gangs are operating from the jails. Failure of rehabilitation because of this overcrowding. Focus shifts from correction to mere confinement. So jails are ideally a place where a person has to be reformed from a bad person to a good person. But now the entire focus is just going on your confinement part. How we can put this much of people into the jail, how we can keep them into the jail. Burden on state resources. A lot of state resources go into the maintaining these prisons. Increased expenditure and reduced efficiency. Then impact on women and children. Women inmates, they face unique challenges, their own challenges. Children are living with mothers in the prisons. They get affected. They do not get proper education. They do not get proper life. They cannot stay away from their mothers. So that's why they have to live in prison only. So a lot of challenges are there. Now, a lot of committees and reports have come which talked about reforming the prison system. A lot of important judgments have also been given regarding this particular situation. For example, the Mullah Committee is famous. It gave report in 1983. After its formation in 1980, it said that prisons should be modernized. Human right orientation has to be given to the prisons, where reformation should be the foremost step. Then Justice Amitava Roy Committee in 2018, which is one of the latest ones, it said that we should focus on under trial management and prison overcrowding. This committee says that if you focus on under trial speedy justice, or if the under trials do not stay for this long in jail, simply overcrowding can be reduced. Then you have Krishna Iyer Committee. It advocated for separate jail facilities for women to prevent exploitation. They said that women should not be kept in similar kind of jails to what men are being kept, although their barracks are different, but they entirely say that women jails or prisons should be different and they should have certain facilities for women. Now there are some important judgments also in this regard. You have Husnaira Khartoum versus State of Bihar case, in which they recognized the right to speedy trial. This we also saw in the case of judicial delays. Then you have Sunil Batra versus Delhi administration, where prisoners retain fundamental rights. The court said the prisons also have fundamental rights. What if they are in jail? This does not say that they are not humans, so they will have their fundamental rights within the limits of jail. Then inhumane conditions in 1382 prisons case. Here, directed prisons reform measures, where a report was submitted into the court which said that 1382 prisons, they had very inhuman conditions prevailing within those jails. So certain measures were to be taken by these jails. They were directed by the court. So these efforts were taken. Although government has also taken a lot of initiatives. For example, your e-prison project, where digital prison management will be done. Under trial management can be done better through e-prison project. Your paperless facilities can be created. So fast trial can be done because of e-prisons project. Clear? And your fast track courts for speedier disposal of cases. Legal aid service in the form of National Legal Service Authority, where the government provide lawyer to those poor people which do not have the capacity to hire a lawyer on their own. You have free legal assistance through different means. There is concept of open prisons in Rajasthan open prison model. So here, as we have already discussed, the people are left in the day, they leave the prison in the day, they go to the work and they come back in the evening to the prisons. So these basically are reformative steps, so that suddenly one day you release someone from prison, then they have no skills to work somewhere in the society. So this is to give people some skill so that they can go out, they can learn skill, they can earn money, and once they are released from jail, then they can continue their normal life. Then the Ministry of Home Affairs has prepared a Model Prisons and Correctional Services Act in the year 2023. Now, why Home Ministry prepared a Model Prisons Act? Because it is a state subject. Every state will implement it. Center has created a Model Prisons Act that you look at this act and take whatever is important in this act. Whatever good practices are there, you can take and implement in your own prisons. Clear? However, certain challenges still remain in there. So that, for example, your administrative challenges like staff shortage, poor infrastructure within the jails. The judiciary is complaining about infrastructure. The prisons is complaining about infrastructure. The people are complaining about road infrastructure. So this administrative challenge, less staff, poor infrastructure can come everywhere when it comes to challenges in India. You have legal challenges like slow judicial process, judicial delays. You have financial constraints, limited prison budgets. Prisons do not get enough money. Very few money is given to the prison. How can they modernize themselves? Then social challenges, stigma against ex-prisoners. Now the people who are coming out of jail, they are also seen with a bad eye. Nobody respects them easily into the society. So they have a stigma attached to them. So this thing also leads to delays. So sometimes people do not have the desire to come out of prison because they think that how will I live outside the prison. Clear? So these are some of the challenges. Then what can be done? What should be the way forward here? See, we have to reduce under trial population. This is the first major thing which India has to do. We have to improve the judicial system. We have to improve the entire criminal justice system so that the number of under trials within the jail, they have to be reduced. Clear? We have to do speedy trials, and bail should be the norm, not jail. And bail reforms have to be done. For example, sometimes the bail bond, the amount is very high. You have to reduce that bail bond amount. Then you have judicial reforms in the form of filled judicial vacancies at lower courts, district and lower courts, improve case management through electronic means or AI or other systems. Then you have promote non-custodial measures, for example, probation, community service, plea bargaining, all these things. Clear? Expand open prison. If the model is successful in Rajasthan, that can be replicated, or with certain reforms that can be replicated in other states also. You have prison modernization with better infrastructure, healthcare facilities. See, I have seen the Delhi Tihar jail from inside on a visit. So now these jails, a lot of reforms are being taken place in, at least in Delhi Tihar jails. So people get facilities to play there. People get facilities for recreational activities like music and different singing clubs like this. So a lot of reforms are being done in Delhi, but these reforms are missing in other states. So they have to be taken care of. And however, whatever reforms will not easily work if you have overcrowded prisons. Clear? So human rights based approach has to be taken. For example, treat prisoners as correctional institutions. Treat prisons as correctional institution where you have to correct your flaws in your personality and become a good person. Not merely a punitive institution. कि सिर्फ सजा भुगतने नहीं आए. You have to improve your conduct so that in future you can live a good life. Fine. So practice this question. Prison overcrowding in India is a consequence of deeper structural issues in the criminal justice system. Discuss. And you will also have to write way forwards in this. Fine. Coming to the new section in the analyst video, now we have mains value addition, where we will pick up any article and extract data from that, and we'll tell you how you can not only make notes from these articles and how you can use these data at multiple different places in your mains answer writing. Okay? Let's say suppose if you are writing mains this year, this is perfectly good for you, and if you'll be writing mains in the next year, then you can build upon this exercise. Now this is an article from Indian Express which says that safe motherhood begins before pregnancy. Now this article talks about that how National Family Health Survey 5, it shows that 57% of the women aged in the middle years 15 to 49 are anemic, and this number is up from 53% in the previous survey. So basically this article was related to motherhood and women. Now how it is relevant to you, where all it is relevant. In GS paper 1, you have within Indian society, you have a role of women organizations and women issues. In GS paper 2, you have issues related to poverty and hunger. ठीक है. If somebody is anemic, that means they are poor, they are not getting good nutritious food. In GS paper 4, if citizens of a country are not getting good health, they are not getting good healthcare facilities, not having good food, who is responsible? One of the agents who are responsible are civil servants. So here, role of civil servants, their foundational values and all the things can come in place. Also, you can use this in essay. So the same data can be used in different papers, multiple papers, in Indian society, in social justice, paper 2, in ethics, and in essay. Clear? So here we have data regarding anemic. What more can you do? Now, instead of what I'll advise you, instead of writing plainly in a line that how this data has number is increased from 53 to 57%, you can make a graph. So this basically this and this. This is your National Family Health Survey 4, and this is 5. Here you say that 53% and here 57%. This shows that with time, the number of anemic women have increased from 53 to 57%. So if you're just drawing this kind of graph in your answer, it is better visible, easily understandable for the checker, and you will hopefully get half marks extra for these things. Clear? Similarly, the second point, they say that in a new study within the magazine Lancet, it says that India's maternal mortality rate, that means how many women they die while giving birth to child. So it has fallen from 384 deaths per 1 lakh live birth in 2000 to just 88 in 2023. Now this MMR, maternal mortality rate, it is measured on women dying per 1 lakh of the live birth. Generally in IMR, under 5 mortality rate, neonatal mortality rate, we take per 1000 births, but here we take 1 lakh births. So again, you can make a diagram here, or you can see graph. You can show that how maternal mortality rate has reduced from 384 right now to just 88. You can write the year 2000, and this is 2025 data or 2026 data. You can make this type of graph and show here MMR, maternal mortality rate. Clear? So use these graphs judiciously in your paper. Extensively you can use them. You can make them at any place. You can also make your bar charts also. Let's say you have to show percentage somewhere of, let's say in the last article, you're under trials and normal prisoners. You can create this key, let's say this just 28% are inmates, your convicts, and 72% are under trials. You can create a lot of bar charts, pie charts, graph, line graphs, all these things can be done in your paper. Clear? Then the third thing, collaborative platforms such as the Adhuna initiative. Now this initiative can be used as a case study, as an example at multiple places. Now these initiatives, what they are doing, they are training private doctors and nurses in India to provide safer care for mothers and newborn during the childbirth. So this is an initiative taken by some of the NGOs along with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So you can write these things. This is from an article. You can extract the useful information which can be used in multiple papers within your exam. Clear? So moving ahead to the Prince pointer now. The first article, it is regarding the cabinet expansion. Now 35 ministers have taken oath in West Bengal. Now what we have to remember here is what is important for us, the Council of Ministers. The State Council of Ministers is the real executive authority in the state. And who is the nominal? Governor. In the state, in the parliamentary system, and it advises the governor in exercising executive function. Clear? According to the Article 163, there shall be a Council of Ministers to aid and advise Governor. Governor cannot function on their own. They need a Council of Ministers, Chief Minister along with other ministers, to aid and advise him to take decisions. Article 164, it talks about appointment and tenure of ministers. Clear? And this is the same Article 164 which says that there cannot be more than 15% ministers within a state. Clear? Not more than 15% ministers in a state. See here it is written. As per Article 164 Clause 1A of the Constitution, the total number of ministers, including the Chief Minister, in the Council of Ministers in a state shall not exceed 15%. That means if in a state, let's say there are 100 seats for Legislative Assembly, the ministers can be, along with a CM, can be maximum 15. If there are 200 seats, then there can be 30 ministers. Okay? So it cannot be more than 15%. It is headed by Chief Minister. Appointment is done by Governor. So they hold position during the pleasure of Governor. That means Governor can remove them also at any time. But in this case, they are removed only when they lose majority in the House. Other ministers, they are also appointed by Governor on the advice of Chief Minister. Clear? They have a collective responsibility to the State Legislative Assembly. Now, similarly, likewise in Parliament, the Council of Ministers, they have collective responsibility to Lok Sabha, not just the Parliament, because they are not responsible to Rajya Sabha. They are just responsible to the Lok Sabha, because their people have sent their elected representatives. So only there the Council of Ministers is responsible, not in front of Rajya Sabha. Same here. In state legislative assemblies, the Council of Ministers is responsible, not in legislative councils. Clear? And you have different kind of ministers within a state. You have cabinet ministers, which is a small group of core ministers which are handling the biggest portfolios, or you can say biggest ministries. They are close to the CM. Then you have member of state. These can be of two types: member of state independent charge and member of state dependent. Member of state independent charge, generally minister of state independent charge, they are given a separate ministry, a smaller ministry, but separately. The ministers of state, which are dependent charge, they are there to assist the cabinet ministers. So they are not given independent ministries, they will assist a bigger minister. And then you have deputy ministers. They are not part of cabinet, they are just there to assist other minister of state independent or cabinet ministers, to assist them. Clear? Now they hold tenure, they hold office during the pleasure of governor. But in practice, as long as they enjoy confidence of the assembly, they cannot be removed by the governor arbitrarily. Clear? The 91st Constitutional Amendment Act 2003, it said, basically this amendment said that the total number of ministers, including CM, cannot exceed 15% of the strength of the total seats in the House. But however, the minimum strength is 12 ministers. That means you have maximum limit is based upon percentage, but the minimum limit is absolute. It is not 12%, it is 12. That means if you are having 200 seats in your legislative assembly, then maximum ministers can be 30 and minimum can be 12. Even if it is 400 seats, then your maximum becomes 60, but minimum remains 12. Clear? They basically, you know what the functions the executives does in legislative assembly. They form policies, they administer the state departments, they do form legislative part of legislative, they create laws. Okay? And they look after financial functions. The important distinction which you should remember is that the Council of Ministers is always larger than the cabinet, because cabinet is a smaller group with let's say 4 or 5 ministers close to the CM, but Council of Ministers consists of all the ministers, whether they are minister of state or cabinet minister or other ministers. Clear? Cabinet is the inner core decision making body which takes all the highest decision in the state. Now, what can be the exam traps here regarding this? See, governor is part of Council of Ministers. This is wrong. Governor is not part of Council of Ministers. CM is part of Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers collectively responsible to Legislative Council. This is wrong. They are responsible to Legislative Assembly. Fine. All ministers are a member of cabinet. This is wrong. Not all ministers. The deputy ministers are not part of cabinet. In fact, the minister of state, they attend cabinet meeting only when they are invited, not always. The size of Council of Ministers can exceed 15%. This is wrong. Article 74 deals with the State Council of Ministers. Wrong. Article 74 is for urban local bodies, not this. Clear? Oh, Article 74, it is regarding your Union Council of Ministers. That is Amendment 74, which is regarding urban local bodies. Clear? The next prelims pointer is regarding the Shangri-La Summit or the Shangri-La Dialogue, which is happening in Singapore, which basically it culminated yesterday in Singapore. The Shangri-La Dialogue or Shangri-La Summit, it is Asia's premier defense and security summit, which is organized by International Institute for Strategic Studies, IISS. It started in 2002 and thereafter it happens every year. Where? In Singapore, held annually at Shangri-La Hotel. We have Shangri-La Hotel in Delhi also. Its branch, one of the branch, the main Shangri-La is in Singapore, where this Shangri-La Summit happened. And this summit, it gained its name from the hotel, from where it happens regularly. Who are the participants in the Shangri-La Dialogue? Defense Minister of all the Asia Pacific countries, military chiefs, strategic experts, and government officials. Anybody can participate from our country. It's not specific who will go from one country. Clear? And independent strategic experts also attend this dialogue. The focus area is Indo-Pacific security, maritime security, regional stability, and defense cooperation between the Asia Pacific countries. Now, right now, this 2026 dialogue, which happened from May 29 to 31, they had focus area on Iran conflict, Taiwan tensions, and US commitments within Asia. US is an important component of Asia Pacific. Clear? Now, why it is important for India? What is the importance? It is a platform to articulate India's Indo-Pacific vision. India can talk about their vision, how they look at Indo-Pacific region in future. What are the plans of India in this region? Then engagement with major powers including US, ASEAN, Japan and Australia. Everybody, representatives from these countries come at the Shangri-La Hotel in the Shangri-La Dialogue. They meet and through unofficial channels also, they discuss and they basically help in improving the relations between different countries. Then the nature, it is not an official intergovernmental organization. Things are informal kind in nature. It is not a treaty-based forum. It has not come out of any treaty. And it functions as a strategic dialogue platform. Clear? Just a defense dialogue platform. Then what are the recent relevance? Discussions on South China Sea, Taiwan Strait, Ukraine conflict, AI in warfare, maritime security. These are some of the domains where frequent discussions between countries happen. Clear? Then what can go wrong here? What can be the exam traps here? It is organized by ASEAN. This is wrong. It is organized by an institution IISS. Clear? Held in China. Wrong. This is held in Singapore. UN Security Conference. No, this is not UN based. It is a kind of informal dialogue. And a treaty based. It has again not come out of any treaty. Focus only on economic issues. This is wrong. It focused not only on economic issues. It focuses on economic defense issues, strategic issues. It focuses on the relations, the supply chain between different countries. All these things are discussed here. Clear? So this is your Shangri-La Dialogue. Coming to the next topic of today's discussion, it is regarding the herbal cigarettes. Some studies, or you can say a lot of herbal cigarettes were advertised in newspaper, or you can say ads in social media as if they are Ayurvedic cigarettes or they are healthy cigarettes. But a lot of studies have found that although they do not contain tobacco, but still they contain such material. When combustion happens, that material burns the plant-based material. It creates tar, carbon monoxide and other harmful gases which are still harmful for your liver. So liver to jayega whether you take conventional cigarettes or herbal cigarettes. Clear? Here it says the herbal cigarettes which are outside India's tobacco control laws can be damaging as tobacco cigarettes. Clear? Now herbal cigarettes, they produce emissions that can be comparable to or even more damaging than the tobacco cigarettes. Clear? The popular herbal cigarettes, they contain basil, clove, cinnamon, mint, green tea, water lily and chamomile. Clear? Now these herbal brands, they use tendu leaves. Tendu leaves are used to make bidi, the local conventional form of cigarette in India. So same tendu leaves is used to form these cigarettes. But they do release a lot of harmful gases, which we'll see now. Now the herbal cigarettes, by definition, they are smoking products made from herbs, flowers and plant material instead of tobacco. The common ingredients are your tulsi, holy basil, mint, rose petal, clove, green tea leaves. The key feature is that they are nicotine free and tobacco free. Nicotine is an addictive substance which does not allow people to easily leave cigarettes once they have a habit of having cigarette. Then they are marketed as smoking cessation aid to healthier alternatives to cigarette. So they are marketed as healthier alternatives, and I have seen ads like they are Ayurvedic cigarettes. But the scientific position is different. There is no conclusive evidence that herbal cigarettes are safe. No evidence. Herbal does not mean they are not harmful. They can be harmful. Clear? So that does not mean that they are harmless. Now this is a tobacco and herbal cigarette. What they say is that it is highly addictive. There is no addictiveness. They create harsh smoke odor. But here fresh herbal aroma is created around person, and they contain nicotine. Here they have zero nicotine. Also they say that there is lot of tobacco here, and here there is no tobacco. Clear? So herbal cigarettes, there is a health concern that burning any plant material, it produces tar, carbon monoxide and harmful chemicals. They may still damage lungs and respiratory system within humans. Now see, this is what I was talking about, Ayurvedic cigarettes. So they say goodbye to tobacco smoking, say hello to the new generation of herbal smoking, which contains these natural ingredients. And They say that it is 100% nicotine free and 100% safe. However, these claims are false as per a lot of studies. So in how they are regulated in India, they may still come under the provision of Cigarette and Other Tobacco Products Act 2003 if marketed or used similar to smoking products. Right now they are outside the control of tobacco control laws, but it says that in future if they are sold as normal cigarettes, normal smoking products, they can come under the cigarette control laws, and if their health concerns are proven right with certainty, they can come under these laws. Now public health view is that they are not recommended as a risk-free substitute for smoking. They still have their certain kind of risk associated with them. Clear? So what can be the exam traps here? It may say that herbal cigarettes are completely safe because they are herbal. So this is wrong. They are not completely safe. Although they are better than normal cigarettes, but they have their own challenges. Then they produce no carbon monoxide. This is wrong. They produce carbon monoxide, tar, and other harmful chemicals. It is recommended by WHO as safe smoking. This is wrong. World Health Organization has not said anything regarding herbal cigarettes. Now, herbal and tobacco free means health risk free. Now, this is again wrong. Just because something is labeled as herbal or Ayurvedic does not mean it is not harmful. Clear? They do not generate tar on combustion. This is again wrong. They do generate tar while combustion, and it is harmful for our body. Clear? Coming to the last topic of today's discussion, it is regarding a tiger reserve. The Maharashtra government, it gave clearance to a mine project saying that no part of that mine is within any tiger reserve, but some parts of that mining project are part of the tiger reserve. Now this is your Tadoba-Andhari Tiger Reserve in Maharashtra, which we are talking about. Here it is, Tadoba-Andhari Tiger Reserve. Clear? In Maharashtra. It is in the Chandrapur district of Maharashtra, where it was established as Tadoba National Park in 1955. So it is one of the oldest national parks. It gained the status of Tiger Reserve in the year 1995 as Tiger Reserve. Clear? So it is among the largest and oldest Tiger Reserve in Maharashtra. Clear? It is named after Tadoba Lake and Andhari River. Now Tadoba is a lake within this national park or tiger reserve, and Andhari is a river which is a tributary of Vainganga. Vainganga then further is a tributary of Godavari. So this Andhari river is a tributary of Godavari system. So after this Tadoba and Andhari river, the name Tadoba-Andhari Tiger Reserve has been given to this tiger reserve. What kind of vegetation here is? Your tropical dry deciduous forest. Tropical dry deciduous, as most of this area have dry deciduous and some part of moist deciduous also. What are the major faunas? Faunas means animals which are found here. Your tiger, leopard, wild dogs, sloth bear, and gore. Clear? Gore are the wild buffaloes. So these are the animals which are fauna which are found there. What is the special significance of this Tadoba-Andhari Tiger Reserve? It is known as India's best tiger habitat, one of the best tiger habitat, known for high tiger sighting rates. Now, what do you mean by these high tiger sighting rates? See, basically this means that it promotes ecotourism. Tiger has special characteristics that it attracts a lot of tourists. A lot of tourists going to the tiger reserves to watch tiger. So if the tiger sighting is easily possible in any tiger reserve, more and more people will come there. Although we have to maintain a balance between your ecotourism and the environment, but if the balance is maintained, a good revenue potential can come for the local people at that place. Clear? So this is your Kanha Tiger Reserve, one of the famous tiger reserve in Madhya Pradesh. This is your Corbett Tiger Reserve in Uttarakhand, and this is your Tadoba-Andhari Tiger Reserve in Maharashtra. Now, we also had to see National Tiger Conservation Authority when we are talking about any tiger reserve. Now, what is NTCA? It is a statutory body which was created in 2005. So, when it was created in 2005, it was not a statutory body, but it gained its legal basis as a statutory body under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 through the 2006 amendment. So in next year of its establishment in 2006, it became a statutory body under Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Who is the chairperson of this National Tiger Conservation Authority? The Union Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So this NTCA comes under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and the Environment Minister is also the head of NTCA. Its objective is to strengthen Project Tiger, which started in 1973, ensure tiger conservation across India, and we can certainly say that in this regard, NTCA has done a good job. They have increased the population of tigers in India. in last 20 years. But the key functions, they approve tiger conservation plans, lay down standards for tiger reserves, they monitor tiger population and protection measures, and they provide funding support to different tiger reserves for the conservation of tigers. Clear? And they also report All India Tiger Estimation Report, basically tiger census in every 4 years. This Project Tiger was started in 1973 to protect Bengal tigers, and now it has been spread to entire country for all the kind of tigers. NTCA, National Tiger Conservation Authority, was established in 2005, and later it gained statutory status in 2006 under which act? Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Tiger conservation plans were created for each reserves. Then you have Forest Right Acts in 2006, which talked about the rights of tribal people living in the forest and how they can jointly conserve the tigers and forest while staying into the forest through their traditional means. Then M-Stripes program, it is a mobile-based monitoring system for patrolling, ecological data and threat assessment of the tigers. M-Stripes. Okay, so IoT is being used here. Then you have eco-development initiatives to promote community engagement through livelihood support and ecotourism. Clear? So what can be the exam traps here? The Tadoba-Andhari is located in Madhya Pradesh. This is wrong, it is located in Maharashtra, not Madhya Pradesh. National Tiger Conservation Authority is an executive body. Again, this is wrong, it is a statutory body. NTCA was established under Forest Conservation Act. This is wrong, they were created under Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Then Project Tiger was launched in 1992. Now this is wrong, it was launched in 1973. There was a separate program which was launched in 1992, which was very famous, again for conservation of one of the animals. Tell me in the comment section which program was this which was launched in 1992. This NTCA conducts wildlife census for all species. Now again this is wrong, they conduct wildlife species census for tiger. And after how many years? Again you will tell me in the comment section after how many years tiger census is conducted in India. Clear? So these are some of the exam tests which you can find in your prelims. Now with this we come to end to today's analyst discussion. Now thank you, and I'll see you again in the next discussion.